Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another exciting episode of the SFXX podcast, known as Jump In, Play More, the only Xbox podcast you should be listening to. And I mean it.
That's right, damn it.
And I fucking mean it. With me, as always, is Foxxy Steve, and I am iChrisPanda for SFXX Play.
Hello, everybody.
And we have a really good show today. Actually, just a nice, interesting topic of conversation, as last week was the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, where we got to see a lot of new games coming out within the next 12 months is what they were planning. A lot of things showing up on Game Pass, a few couple reveals, and it had us wondering a bit more about the past and now, and how they're slowly trying to fix their errors and make up for it by improving their current status quo, because they're still part of the big three. They cemented themselves with their original Xbox into 360, and then Xbox One kind of brought them back down, but right now we're seeing a really good sign for Xboxes. And we're just trying to see what we can go for from that. But of course, before we delve deep into the topic of conversation, Steve, you know what we gotta do. We gotta tell you guys out there, if you're watching us, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell to stay up to date when we go live with any and all videos on this YouTube channel. And of course, Steve, can you tell them where we can listen to this thing at?
You can listen to this on all of the podcast services around the globe, including Spotify, where you can rate us with 5 stars. So if you are driving your car, pull that shit right on over. Go over to Spotify and give us 5 stars on that after you've listened to it, because it won't let you do it before that. You can also check us out on, of course, Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts as well. Rate us there as well, so that way I could feed my non-existent children.
My Somalian pirate kids are going to be fantastic once they get this insurance money to come through from your views and click rates. So keep it up. So before we go deep into that, let's just spice up, because I know we said it on the last podcast, some of the big things that interest us with the Xbox Bethesda Showcase. And if you hadn't checked that out when we did it live, and you haven't taken the time to listen to it or watch it, go and do that now. Stop this podcast, check that one out. It was an interesting show. You get to hear everything as it's happening. You get to watch everything as it's happening.
Yep,
and you get to have a good time.
You get to see the disappointment on my face when I bit into some very subpar chicken McNuggets.
Oh my God, that's right. And we had a live McDonald's review of their food from the Broadway Avenue location in Garfield Heights, Ohio.
Was awful. That was really the worst part of the showcase, was the food I was eating.
So there's that.
How do you fuck up root beer?
But I do want to pinpoint probably one of the bigger things is Persona. Persona's coming to Xbox.
Yes, sir.
And not all of it, because there's a lot of Persona. I can't please the masses and give them everything.
You're only getting like 1 and 2, but I don't really know how many people are asking for 1 and 2, because those...
It's a very, very minuscule number.
Those didn't age great.
But you're getting 3, 4, and 5, and you're getting 5 on Game Pass this fall.
Yep, and you're getting the best versions of 4 and 5.
Yep,
so. And
3, because you're getting P3 Portable, which was the definitive edition of Persona 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So yeah, you're getting the definitive edition of every game.
Yeah, and it's upscaled.
Yes. And of course, if you're using Game Pass like we recommend, and you got Ultimate, let me tell you about xCloud. Let me tell you about game streaming. You can play these games on your mobile device in the comfort of your living room while your Xbox is in your boudoir. And you can play Persona while pooping. You can do everything. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. It's like...
I should now do my weekly chant. Game Pass is the best deal in gaming.
That's a shit chant.
It's a bad chant, but it's all I got.
It's a bad chant.
But it's true. It is the best deal in gaming.
It's a great deal. It's even more solidified after PlayStation released their service. I'm not gonna say their Game Pass competitive service,
because it's
but
not
their
that.
service.
Yeah, their revamped PlayStation Plus, which just is not stellar.
From us on the Xbox forefront, we're like, cool. This will be their entryway into it. And then it's not as good.
No.
It's still not as good.
And seeing as I don't play online games on my PS5, it has not really made me motivated to get PlayStation Plus to play those games.
Yeah, it's kind of bad. But yeah, Persona's coming. They showed off Forza Motorsport. Looks great. Redfall looks fun if that's your cup of tea. Lots of indie titles just thrown about everywhere. The new Cuphead expansion, I think, was shown there as well.
Yeah.
Or was it just shown at Summer Games Fest?
The Cuphead was shown at the showcase, I think.
I don't remember. It's either one of the two.
My notes are on the thing that's currently filming it, so I can...
It's either one of the two. I'm not really like hard pressed to find out about it. Hollow Knight was there.
Yeah, Hollow Knight Silksong was there. Of course, Starfield.
Starfield looked... So, at first, my first glance of Starfield, before we dive into our topic, because I do want to just do a quick footnote on this. Starfield is painfully using the same Fallout engine.
Is it?
Somebody literally put up a video of Fallout 4 and Starfield, and everything is lined up in the exact same way for every movement and everything of it.
I thought it was a new engine.
No. You can tell. The gun has the same shape as another gun from Fallout. The whole movement they do in the jetpack is the same as Fallout.
That's wow.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, that's Bethesda for you. I will say, as long as the game is fun, I don't really care what the engine is, as long as it's fun.
It's not my cup of tea, so I already know I don't care that much, but I do sympathize with the people that want a new engine, and I understand why they want a new engine.
I wouldn't be surprised, because Starfield's development happened like so long ago that I wouldn't be surprised if Elder Scrolls 6...
If they're using a new engine, that's probably the one to have it.
Because after Starfield, they've already said it's, I think Fallout 5 is after Starfield. They confirmed Fallout 5, by the way.
I didn't know that. The only thing I know of was the new Elder Scrolls game.
Yeah, they did it at the Xbox Extended thing to give more details on certain things that were shown at the showcase. And they did confirm Fallout 5, that it is coming after, I think it's coming after Elder Scrolls 6 is what was said. Yeah, and they also did confirm that Starfield will take about, if you just mainline it, there's 1,000 planets and all this shit, but if you mainline the actual story, it's like 30, 40 hours. And there's no like planet to space, like you don't seamlessly go from planet to space.
That's booty then. I want to have No Man's Sky, but with depth.
Right?
So that game's trash. That game gets an FF minus for me, for fuck's sake. That's what it's called. Fuck's sake is one word in my vocabulary. So it's FF for fuck's sake.
All right. Well, it's not that big a deal to me, but okay.
It's not a big deal to me at all. I just like criticizing it. I like criticizing it because I know so many people are so invested into it, and I'm just in the background like, yeah, that's neat. Good for you. Like, I'm happy you get to play what you want. I don't care. Like, my game of the show for that was Diablo 4.
Same. That was my game at the show. That game, I wanted like today.
Diablo 4, it looks so enticing, looks so engaging, looks so interesting, looks so damned cool. Character creation, PvP, PvE, cross-save progression, post-game stuff. Just so new character with the Necromancer.
Like graphically, I'm
like, thank God.
Blown away by it. So yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on Diablo 4.
That game is going to be stellar, and I can't wait to play it because I know it's going to be just absolute bonkers. It's going to be fun to play. But the showcase was decent. Like I said, if you want a more in-depth, as it occurs analysis, we do recommend you listen to the podcast prior to this one, as it just covers all of it.
Yep.
So let us delve in to our topic for the day, which is the fact that Xbox has been around for 20 plus years, I think it is at this point.
Yeah, yep, it came out in 2001.
No, it might actually just be 20 years. I think it's 22 years now. Or it came out in 2002.
Was it 2002?
I think it was 2002, because PS1 was 2001.
PS1 was 2000.
Oh, really? Then GameCube, I think GameCube or Xbox were both the same year. Mm-hmm. Or GameCube was 2001, then Xbox was 2002.
I gotta know. We got to find out. We can't be an Xbox podcast and not know.
I don't remember the exact date, so let's find out. Xbox release date. Bam. 2001.
No.
Okay.
Oh wow, that was the same month and year as well, okay, not the same year. I was gonna say it's my niece, but no. November 15th, 2001. The Xbox came out.
Okay, yeah, that's why. Okay, yeah, GameCube and Xbox are the same year. All right, so Xbox came out in 2001. It's 21 years old. We're drinking.
We're drinking, brother.
We're gonna be drinking by the end of this year. So if you're an Xbox, just pour a beer right into it.
We're gonna be drinking by the end of this podcast.
If you got, oh boy, I'm afraid to grab this thing. Goddamn, whoo, this motherfucker heavy. If you got one of these big, thick bitches right here, the original Xbox, this boy is heavy.
I'm gonna say for audio listeners, he has just grabbed the OG Xbox, which is a thick girl.
If you got one of these original Xboxes, go ahead and just pour beer right in its ass.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. You're probably gonna ruin it.
You're definitely gonna ruin it. I'm afraid to touch anything with this console.
I mean, they're tough, man. I've had mine since high school. I'm old as fuck, and it's still kicking.
It's a very strong system. It's one of my favorites. It's my baby. But the original Xbox came out 2001, and it was innovative. It was a system that was built on being the biggest and best console, and that was clearly defined by its controller. And how big this box is, and everything about it felt big.
Yeah, the system was huge. The controller was huge. The amount of storage you had was huge. The fact that it can only use high-speed internet was controversial because almost no one had high-speed internet.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah, it was at 2001. I think everybody was just running 56K. So I had cable internet in 2002, 2003. I don't remember.
Oh yeah. As soon as we could get high speed in my area, I convinced my parents to let me just pay for it because I was working. So we upgraded, and I was like, hooray. I still didn't play the Xbox because I didn't get the Xbox. I didn't play it online because I couldn't afford Xbox Live until after I moved here, and then got I think Battlefield, maybe the first game I played online.
I remember playing NFL Street 2. I think I may have mentioned this before in a podcast, but yeah, my first Xbox Live game was NFL Street 2, and then promptly after was Halo 2.
Halo, yeah.
So NFL Street 2, I was already just playing it. I got Xbox Live. I was like, it's already in the disk drive. Let's try it.
Let's do it.
So I was like, cool.
Yeah, man. I tell you what, shout out to people who left their Xbox Live stuff in the GameStop cases, because that's how I paid for Live for a while. I went there. Ooh, here's 3 months trial, baby.
Yeah, Xbox back then. I know it doesn't seem like anything now, but back then, Xbox Live used to come in game cases. And a lot of used cases back then, if you go to a GameStop, a Funko Land, a Babbage's, they would just be in the cases. And the best part was not too many people had Xbox Live. So people like me and Steve would literally be using codes that other people would just not use.
Didn't use.
Because it wasn't like it was a scratch off. It was usually just one of those peel the number and then it'll show up sort of deals.
Yeah.
So you could tell when it's not used. And it wasn't here's 48 hours. No, it was here's 2 months.
Yes. You got way more time.
They gave you so much time.
You got way more time, and it used to stack.
Yeah, it was insane. It wasn't hey, first time. No, it was here, just keep getting it.
Oh my God.
So if you're like us, we didn't even own half these games. We're just whatever. Hey, what you got in here? I want to see what the manual looks like. Oh, neat.
Okay. Bye.
We're never trying to get a copy of whatever that game was, and we're just cool.
The struggle was real. Okay.
It was there,
yeah.
And it was fine. Played a lot of Xbox Live. Halo 2 was my life. It was great. Crimson Skies was fantastic. NFL Street 2 was not great. It was just what I tried first, but it was not fun. I played 25 to Life, and I this is I talk about this to people all the time.
The game is trash, man.
Yes, because people are like, "What is this game?" And I'm like, 25 to Life, and everybody sees this game. They only see the single player because it's terrible, and it's the only thing you can play now. They never see the multiplayer because nobody played it, but it was the only good thing of that game. And it was mediocre. For $20, the multiplayer saved that game. The rest of it, garbage. AI, garbage. Shooting against a computer, garbage. Level design, garbage. But multiplayer was just it was good. It was just a third-person cover-based shooter on Xbox. And nobody knew about it. And finding footage of the multiplayer for 25 to Life maybe exists, and maybe it saves how you may think
I don't
it'll
think
look.
it does because
I don't think it'll translate well. I think it's one of those things like you had to be there to play it.
You can't have to be there. I was not.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. There isn't like an instance where I'm like, yeah,
I want to hold the baby.
It's like, yeah, I want to go back.
Yeah, look at you. Yeah.
But
a humble box.
But of course, with the original Xbox came the inspiration for Xbox to want to be bigger and better, so they made the 360, and it came to launch early.
It still smells like an Xbox.
I would hope so. And it came to launch.
Still tastes like an. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I did not.
If you would have licked my Xbox. Wow, that sounded vaguely sexual.
I love to lick. I love to lick your Xbox.
Lick my Xbox. But they came out with 360. 360, fantastic system. By and large, like Microsoft's biggest success.
Yeah, they probably should have called it an Xbox 180 because 360 would have meant that it was started
just the same thing. I don't listen.
But they really wanted to get that Japanese market by making it look sleek. It didn't work. But it was
nothing worked.
No.
I still don't understand. And this is partially because because we're Westerners. I do not understand the Japanese market and why they hate the Xbox so damn much.
Well, it just wasn't. I think it was less a hardware thing and more of a software thing because there wasn't a lot of software on
Even
there.
before that, I don't think it was that either. I think it was just loyalty.
Yeah,
I think the Japanese were just so loyal to the PlayStation.
The PlayStation. It's what they always
yeah.
had. And this was an American system,
and it looks
from an American
American
company. And
it looks like an American.
It's huge. Like you look at the PS5 now, and it's like, goddamn, of course. But and this is before PS3 made everything massive. This thing.
It's gigantic.
It's
I think
gigantic.
I got I do. Wow, it's like I prepped for the show and I didn't. I have my 360 next to me. This is my Slim. So it's not the OG. I don't have that. I believe I gave that or sold it to Gov Pancakes, who you guys can check out on the internets somewhere. Hey, he puts his content up mostly on Twitch, but this is my 360 Slim, right? Halo Reach Edition 360 Slim. It's a little beat up. I need to figure out how to clean this better. But yeah, this Slim, first off, it actually has a lot of weight to it that I just wasn't aware of.
I'll get them on top.
Like the Slim is marginally smaller than this, right? Definitely shorter. It's a better made console.
Yeah, I mean, of course, and a Slim is nice and it actually works and everything, whereas the
original was a little bit longer, a little bit thicker,
and it died a lot. I think that was also may have been an issue getting into the Japanese market since it died so much here. They already had a system that wasn't doing it as much in the PS3. I mean, yes, PS3 also had issues, but not to the same astronomical degree.
Yeah, the yellow light of death.
So and they had and of course there's Nintendo is over there as well, taking a lot of the market. So I know they're doing better now in Japan, like much better. Like I think the Xbox Series systems are the most successful they've ever been in Japan.
That makes sense. The Series S is probably, I think, the breakout star for this generation so far. Not in terms of just people want it, because in America I think you can find them easily. No, from what I've been told, a Series, it depends on where you're at, and it's different for every person. Some people are like, man, I have a ton of Series S systems at my local GameStop. We have a ton of Series X systems. PlayStation, we never have any, which makes sense. Xbox is pumping these systems out way more. Sony, nobody knows.
Yeah, I'm seeing more availability trickle in as time goes on. Take this big ass thing. I think.
I'm just gonna hold it because it's too heavy and I'm afraid to put it back down where it was.
Oh yeah, because it's on that anyway.
But from what I'm seeing is that the Series S in certain places are next to impossible to find, and sometimes it'll be the Series X, which is next to impossible.
Yeah, I think the secret's getting out about how good of a value it is, because you can get it and then you have access to so much stuff by just getting Game Pass and Live. It's ridiculous. It's such a good value. Even if it won't be your main system, as a second system, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And the S is still, can still run all new next-gen games. You may not get like all the bells and whistles out of an S that you would out of a Series X, but you're still getting a huge leap over the Xbox One.
Yeah, which is funny to me because right now the biggest popularity boom for the Series S, and I usually don't like to talk about stuff like this on film because I feel like it's going to promote people to do the wrong thing, is kind of the emulation capability for the Series S consoles in the developer mode that you can pay. I think it's $50. It may be less. I don't remember the exact price, but you can get into developer mode for your Xbox Series S console or X. You can do both. And then it just unlocks a world of possibilities. You can run like Linux off of it, and it's like actually having a tiny computer, and the capabilities of it are really strong.
I didn't know that.
And people are using that shit to its fullest potential.
Now, of course, by emulation, I'm sure people are only going to emulate the stuff that they already own as a backup, or obviously games that are no longer in print that you can't, legally buy. That's the only reason anybody would emulate anything.
I definitely use my emulation for games that I already own. And that's actually not a joke. It really is just much easier for me to just be like, cool, instead of me having to lug a fucking console and plug it up and then hook it up to the TV, or, well, actually not even the TV, because for casual purposes, I can hook it up to my TV, whatever. That's fine. Yeah. But when I'm making content, it's a pain in the ass. There's so much extra cords.
I know that's why a lot of people, I know it's Xbox podcast, but a lot of folks are loving their Steam decks because they are good emulation machines.
Yeah, I'm very thankful that, thankfully, Microsoft is starting to understand backwards compatibility, and they're working on the emulation for the Series S and X and Xbox One because, good heavens,
Back compat is just like, that was, I think we were going back and looking at those conferences, and it was like
2015.
2015?
2015, 2016, both years.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest things. It's so interesting how some people's argument is, who wants to go back and play these old games? A lot of people.
A lot of people really do.
A lot of people, especially when there's nothing new out.
I was about to say, when you have nothing out.
Or if you haven't played, if your backlog is huge, or there's games from the past you haven't touched, and then you can play them and they'll look better than they ever did, and they'll play better than they ever did.
Exactly. There's something to be said about you're a fan of a franchise that doesn't exist. Like, I think the podcast we did maybe 2 weeks ago when we mentioned SSX.
I was just going to say SSX. Yeah.
SSX is backwards compatible for the 360 version, right? That's the last one they did. And SSX 3, arguably one of the better SSX entries on original Xbox, is also backwards compatible. And if you're playing it on One X, Series S, Series X, I think it's just One X and Series X, but I may be wrong. You have to look that up. But if you can play it on Series S, you get the up-res boost.
You do.
I don't know if it's Series S or not, but I may be wrong.
Yeah, it's on anything that's Xbox One X and up, you're going to get the resolution boost and everything, yeah.
Because goddamn, that boost makes you feel like this is how I played the game. Not,
this is how I really played the game. And it looks like you put Vaseline all over the screen.
Because holy shit, man, SSX has never looked better. It's never run better. 60 frames, crystal clear vision. I have no need to ever want to play it on this thing ever again. The original Xbox, I love it to death. I have no desire to play SSX on this thing again.
That's what we had to do. We had to take that sucker out, plug it in, kind of like what we did with Midnight Club or whatever. Well, we had to play some other game, and it was like, whew, man.
Oh yeah, a while back we were trying to get footage for Dub Edition on original Xbox, and it was just so blurry.
It was bad.
And it ran at 30 frames, and we're like, did it always run like this?
It sure did.
And we're like, holy shit. So
that's how we lived our lives.
So I was like, let me see if I can emulate it through something. And it was the PlayStation emulator, because an Xbox emulator exists, but it's not good. So I was like, okay. And it kind of worked for me, and it didn't, but it looked so much better. And it ran at 60 frames. I'm like, that's how I remember the game. So it's very disheartening that obviously this system it's fallen to the wayside. The original Xbox has fallen to the wayside. It is very old. It's very old. I get it, you know. The 360 at this point is also very old.
Yeah, 2005. It's quite a while ago.
Yeah, so we're just sitting to a point where we're like, damn, we just can't play a lot of these old shits with ease, and it sucks because the best thing we're gonna have to do is find.
Excuse me. Continue.
The best thing that we're gonna have to figure out to do is like modify these systems. I was watching a video. I can't remember the YouTuber's name, so sorry. I'd shout you out, but I have no idea what your name is, and I don't even remember if I saved that video. I hope I did. But he was a modder for systems, and he was going through the modification process. And he modded an original Xbox, because I was curious, because I'm like, apparently you can soft mod an Xbox, which means you don't have to open it up and do anything with like the motherboard and stuff.
Okay.
But then he showed one of a process of him doing so. And he said it wasn't too hard, but it was difficult enough, especially if you're not used to soldering and whatnot. But he showed the process to have an HDMI port on your original Xbox. Because, you know, this is AV. And I don't think people understand that AV now, you ain't getting a good signal with AV on anything.
No.
You have
that is 480i.
You have to get a AV to HDMI converter to have it blow up, usually on your television set, to then be stretched and blurry to all shit. Then, if you want to have it go to your stream or capture device, you're gonna have to plug that in via an HDMI, and it never translates well, and it looks like dog shit. But with actual HDMI built into the motherboard, it up-reses the footage, makes it look better, and you have native HDMI to the system. So even though it's old, it's gonna look crunchy, because you know this shit is old. You're not gonna look at a Nintendo game from like 86, plug an HDMI into whatever modern Nintendo and be like, damn, this looks just like my PS5.
No,
bitch, those pixels. That's not.
No, bitch, those pixels.
That shit is not gonna look better than what it was. It's gonna look clearer, and that's how that works for this. And because it's an Xbox, you can use the hard drive to store games onto.
Oh yeah, because it's built right in.
It's built in. And people have been able to modify it so that you can have a different hard drive with a different read and write speed. And I saw it, I'm like, damn, that seems pretty goddamn
That's what I want.
neat.
See, that's what I want to do. I want to have the original hardware and just have it adapted for modern day. That's what I want to do with all the classic like systems, like a Saturn and a Dreamcast and stuff like that. Just make it where I can still play with the game on the original hardware as intended. Just make it not look so horrible on my TV, and make it where I don't have to carry around a million discs that aren't in print anymore.
Exactly. So,
because I have no issue with emulation on stuff that is not, because they're not going to make these games again. The money's not going to go to anybody but a third-party seller, so you might as well.
Yeah, that's it. You know what sucks is that I really love having.
And usually at an inflated price.
Yeah, I really love physical media, but like you said, sometimes getting these games emulated means at least you can play them. And you're not using them to sell, you're just using them to play.
Yeah, emulation is the best way right now to preserve video game history. It just is.
And obviously, some people are going to disagree, and they're going to say, oh no, you have to get the original because the original is best. I agree. Nothing quite beats playing a copy of Halo Combat Evolved on your original Xbox using the Duke.
Okay, we ain't got to go
as nostalgic. Your hand cramps because you're reaching from your thumb to your shoulder. And
I could tell you that when I bought my Xbox, it had the S controller in it.
I mean,
so, thankfully, the Xbox that first showed up in my home did have the Duke. So I was like, how do you?
My buddy Wayne had the Duke. My buddy Wayne had the Duke, and I was able to experience the Duke back then. And I hated the Xbox. I was like, this is what I gotta use? It was booty. I did not like it.
No, I was like, I had to choose between buying systems and stuff. I had the PS2 as my last system as a gift. And I'm like, do I want a GameCube or do I want to buy myself an Xbox? And Xbox was not on that list for a minute until a wrestling game hit it. and that smaller controller happened, and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll get the Xbox, and I'll get Raw 2 with it, and that was, yep.
I can't remember what was my turning point for an Xbox, because I think I always was infatuated with Halo. But I know that the first impression was, yeah, Halo's cool, but they weren't playing that. They were showing me NBA 2K2, which was on everything at the time. But of course, you know, I'm coming from Dreamcast perspective, so I'm like, okay, it's on Xbox. It looked pretty. Everything on Xbox looked pretty. NBA Live looked pretty. I was like, man, these sports games look great on this system. I remember playing ESPN football. Now, some of you may be very old and not know that 2K made football games. I'm aware that was 2005 when the last time they did that. 2008, if you want to be just a football game in general.
Football, baby, yeah.
You know that game skyrocketed in price?
Yeah, because the last one you can get.
Oh my God, it's I'm like, damn, I really, really regret selling that game. But it's ESPN football had first-person mode.
Oh God.
Yeah, there it is.
I tried that. That thing sucked.
Oh, it was terrible.
That mode, the game was great. The mode sucked.
That was a very bad idea.
Couldn't see anything.
It was like, I don't care. This isn't fun. This is not what I signed up to play.
It turned into a survival horror game. You get to experience the true horror of being in that helmet.
Let me be a running back. Oh, okay. Just never knowing what's happening. You just immediately fall down. Where am I supposed to go? What's the play? But then I remember after a time, like Tony Hawk was looking good on it. And like I said, I had a GameCube. So I had the runner-up to like the best looking system.
Yeah.
It was GameCube and Xbox neck and neck for how visually good games
We had gotten into a conversation about, I guess one of those conversations we got into. That the fact is that GameCube did, pound for pound, was the most powerful system. It just couldn't capitalize on it because it had those mini discs. The Xbox was the next most powerful system, and it was pretty damn neck and neck between the two of them.
Yeah, and thankfully it's like I got to experience all of that. Like my main system wasn't a PS2 until like 2004, so it was right before 360. I remember that because I got a PS2 last, and it was like way last. And it wasn't that I didn't want a PS2. No. I did. It was just the fact that I didn't really need it. I was playing the Xbox so much, and I love that system. I was playing my GameCube so much, and I loved that system. I didn't need a PS2. And then I got the PS2, and I'm like, there's some good games on it, but I still played my Xbox primarily. This was my main system, and it always has been. That's why I'm not going to say I'm an Xbox fanboy. I'm a gaming fanboy. I love video games, but Xbox is always probably like my number one with Nintendo right behind it.
It's so interesting because that wasn't my situation at all. Like, I didn't have a GameCube at all, and I was not, like, after my Dreamcast, like PlayStation, we always had a PlayStation. So PS2 was the natural thing to get. And so then after that, like, the Xbox was always the secondary system to play. And it happened to be when I moved here, I just happened to take my Xbox and not my PlayStation, thinking I was coming back home. And because I already had the PlayStation, so I bring my Xbox. And it slowly, because it was always the second system, and then at some point, there was just a pivot. And we were still playing PS2 a lot, but I was just playing Xbox more. And I think Xbox started to become my main system the more I started getting on the Xbox Live.
It's really hard to like explain that experience to people that when Xbox Live first happened, there was nothing like it. They're like,
no.
Like nowadays, it's just embedded into it. You're just like, yeah, whatever. You got the online. I'm playing with my friends. Fuck you, Dad. I'm playing Fortnite, you fucking pussy. And it's like, oh God, Timmy, you're supposed to be doing your homework. Fuck you, nerd. And he builds a tower in his bedroom, right? And this is the scenario I put into my head for some reason. Every Fortnite child is amazing.
What kind of kid is this?
Yeah, he's able to build really quickly. But nobody knows this because whenever you can play Fortnite on your phone, you can play PUBG on your phone.
Yeah, online gaming now is just everywhere.
It's standard.
It's you know.
But Xbox Live, it wasn't the first to do it. Hell, back then it was like what, Sega Network on Genesis?
Okay. So yeah, you can go. You can mention this.
I know. I had to really like dig.
You pulled up. You pulled that turnip out the dirt.
It's a really small turnip.
Yeah, Sega Network was a thing. It did suck.
That's what I've heard.
Xbox Dreamcast, playing the Dreamcast online was
Dreamcast
cool.
apparently was cool. I didn't get a chance to play on Dreamcast.
Dreamcast, it depended on the game you were playing. Because some games were okay. Playing like the Floyd Brothers was a game you could play. The game
you always bring up this game that I know of, but I'm like, that had online? And you're like, yeah.
It had online, and that was really the only thing that made it interesting was that it was like online, which wasn't normal at the time. The game itself was fairly bland and mediocre. The fact that you played online was what made it interesting. The problem is that it was 56K, so playing online was kind of trash.
Yeah, because I mean, there was online with PC games. You had your Quake and your
it's like Xbox was my first online experience since I was playing Unreal Tournament on my PC.
Yeah, I wasn't playing games online on PC.
It just was. It was also. I mean, it was actually, from what I remember, it was pretty solid via 56 via dial-up. But like to have it on your console and it's solid and it works.
Yeah.
And I was playing on my PS2 because I did get the adapter like as soon as it came out, but it just wasn't the same as Xbox Live. Like Xbox Live when it came out, it's very bare bones compared to what you see now. But
yeah, all you had back then was a friends list, and that was kind of it. Messages and friends list.
Yeah, which you wouldn't even get on PS2.
Yeah.
Like PS2
was you got the game, you can go online.
Yeah, your friends list was from game to game.
Yeah.
It was very bare bones. It was just the network it was just a way to play with people online. It was free, so that's fine. But like Xbox had the better online experience, period. I had people that I could link up with on Xbox to play Battlefield with every single night that I couldn't do on PlayStation.
And the headset that came with it.
Yeah, and the headset,
communication,
voice chat was better. Like everything was just better. Hell, PlayStation, I had to like get like a USB thing to try to make it work.
And apparently, from what I've heard, it wasn't good.
No, it wasn't. And so on Xbox, you could just use any. I couldn't afford an Xbox Live headset, so I used the shitty little earbud thing that I used on my cell phone, that you plugged into your cell phone as a headphone adapter, and I used that to the Xbox, and it worked like a charm. I
had the Xbox Live starter pack. I think as a birthday gift, I was like, I really want to play online. Can I get this? And I was like, sure. And then, I had it. I remember what it came with. It came with a year of Xbox Live.
Yep, year of Xbox Live.
The headset with the communicator piece.
Yep.
And it came with Crimson Skies. And it was $50. Now, kiddos, where the fuck have the deals gone? Because that's a fucking deal if I've ever heard of it.
That is a deal.
Holy shit.
I think you got something similar with 360 where you got a little chat pad. You get Xbox Live with it.
And it came with like Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah, something like that.
I remember that. But nothing compared to Crimson Skies. Fantastic game.
So good.
Single player is really great.
Then
the multiplayer is just as good.
When I got to play that game online, it was a different thing,
it's
man.
Like, wow. And then my Xbox, because you're about to feel nostalgic hearing it. It came with Clone Wars and Tetris World.
Hey, mine did too. We had the same bundle.
Yeah. So, and guess what those games had? Online. So they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I know. But Tetris Worlds, that was just my zone out game. I would have my custom playlist because you burn your discs to your hard drive. So I would just listen to music and play Tetris Worlds and just zone out on it.
And it was great. And it's so amazing because it's like I said, you never experience something like that again, where it's like you're able to meet and play people online for the first time in this environment where you get to see what they're doing. Yeah. You can send them messages, so if they back out and go to the thing, they can play it, and everybody knows. And Halo 2 like really made it better because that was one of the first games where you could always see what your friends are doing in the game, and it was just incredible. And then 360 just expanded on it. Actually, before I even knew that, because even though it's an Xbox show, I did play PS2 online when I got it. I got my PS2, and I take it back. I don't think it was 04. I think it was 05. It was like before I got the 360. I got my 360 in 06. I remember getting it a year later. But I remember playing the PS2, and I remember playing 2 games online, and only 2. I played Ratchet Deadlock, because that was the one that was primarily focused for online.
Okay.
And that game was fun, but by the time I played, everybody was already good. I tried playing SmackDown versus Raw, so that one doesn't count because I couldn't.
God, all those games sucked online.
And I did end up playing Madden 06, and it was awful. So my experience with PlayStation was just like, why the fuck would I ever play anything other than my Xbox?
Yeah.
Because I could play games online and everything worked.
Everything worked. Yeah.
The PS2 was the exclusive machine. The Xbox was the machine of machines.
Yeah, and see, for me, it was like kind of the opposite. Where PS2, we played everything, but I had specific stuff for the Xbox. And I was so into Battlefield. I had Battlefield 2, Battlefield Modern Warfare or Modern Combat on both systems, so that way I could play it. And then I also had Battlefield 1942 on my PC with the Modern Combat mod, because they didn't have it out for that yet, and nothing controlled good. The helicopters didn't fly right. And then they finally did like Battlefield 2.
I remember wanting to play Battlefield. I remember seeing it and I was like, this game looks incredible. And obviously I couldn't do anything. I had my Xbox, and I didn't buy the game. I remember renting it through GameFly, and I did play Modern Combat, and I was like, okay, it's pretty fun. And I couldn't understand what was happening when I was playing online, so I was just like, I gave up. And then I played it on 360, where everything was just a little bit shinier.
A little bit better, a little shinier.
It ran better, and I was like, oh, okay. I kind of get it, but I still didn't quite get it.
Yeah, the only gameplay difference between the 360 version of that game and the Xbox One version of it was in the campaign mode, because you could be any soldier on the battlefield, and you would like teleport from person to person.
I remember that view.
And the 360 version lets you go further. So you could see a guy who was further away and teleport to a man who was further away and control that guy.
Woohoo.
Woohoo. I was like, is that really it?
Woohoo. I'll just keep playing the outfit. But I really do, like, it's so hard to like look back and think, man, right now we're in the point for the Xbox as the company where they're just trying to mold themselves back to what they used to be. Obviously, the original Xbox was the startup. We got to take some bold ideas and some risks. Yeah,
the startup was made for gamers pretty much by the gamers within Microsoft.
Yeah, and then the 360 at first was just like, hey, we're gonna follow that continued success, improve upon it. Gamer system for gamers, and it's gonna have multimedia functions as well. So it's like, oh, that's pretty neat, right? Oh, neat storefront. Xbox Live Arcade, which was horribly implemented at first, where it was like, yeah, if you're a developer, you have what? It was like 4 megabytes or 20.
You didn't have much to work with.
You had 20 megabytes to work with. Then they eventually upped it to like 60, then 100, then 500. And then they let you do like a gig or 2.
Which is fair considering internet speed standards.
Yeah, and then they eventually just gave up. It was like, whatever, just put a whole game.
Yeah, well now we're at the point where you can just, not have any physical games, so.
Yeah, so thankfully, it took a minute. Like the early days, every Xbox Live, I know some people will listen to this, but they may not remember. When you first got a 360, you always had a game for it for free, and it was, I was about to say Bejeweled. It's not Bejeweled. It's another puzzle game, and it's escaping me. Hexic.
Was it Hexic?
Yeah, it's the hexagonal puzzle game. And it always came with it because it had Xbox Live attached to it. And it was an Xbox Live Arcade game. And they wanted to focus on that. Make sure you knew, as an Xbox player, you get to go online, play people, submit records, leaderboards, and it's great. Fine. Whatever. And what else did you have? Motherfucker, hope you like Miss Pac-Man. Cool. What else you got?
Hey,
hope you like Pac-Man.
you got Fable 2 and like pub games.
That came much later.
I did, didn't it?
That came much later. Man, I can remember having a 360 and my mind was blown being able to download demos.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I don't even need to buy shit at first. I can just play the demos until I get to a bored point. And there's a lot of them. It wasn't even like, oh, I got a free game trial. Free game trials are the fucking pinnacle of what we've become for demos now. So thank you, developers, for just giving us the ability to have a timed sample platter of your game. Sonic Forces, I really wish you did that for us, because then people could just beat it.
No, because if they did that, then people play it and then they would never actually sell a copy.
That's why. I kid. But it's amazing to me, because I remember getting Tony Hawk's Project 8 demo, Fight Night round 3, because I had it on Xbox and I played it all the fucking time. And I knew it was on 360, so I wanted to play that, and I think in NBA 2K6, because I was playing that a lot too. And it was just, all those games were just so pretty, and I was just like blown away. I played the Call of Duty 2 demo over and over again. I played, I think it was Cameo demo, and I kind of liked it. Kind of. A lot of those demos I played, I remember playing in places like CompUSA and Best Buy and whatnot.
Yeah, that's the craziest. I missed all those demos, since I didn't like. The craziest thing for the X360 era was that they didn't sell me on it at the time, because it was a nightmare when it came out. So I only knew it from the retail side of selling 360s and them coming back constantly because of the red light of death. So I'm like, I'm not about to spend, what was it, $300 to $400 on this thing right now, especially since I'm broke. So I said, I'm just gonna wait. And I waited and I waited. I think the year after that, I just got the Wii, didn't get anything. And then we got the Xbox in like 2000, I want to say 2007. That's when we got the 360 finally, because you got a decent deal on it. And then they were able to fix that red light of death issue, I think the year after, before the Slim came out.
I really wish I could tell you when they fixed it. All I can think about is the number of Xboxes I went through.
You had what, 3, 4 of them?
I went through, it was either 4 or 5 original 360 models. And then the last one I had was working, and then I sold it to Gov Pancakes, because I wanted to put that money towards the Slim, and he didn't have a 360. So I was like, you getting one of the models that actually has the revision. It's not going to red ring on you. And I just want the Slim, because it comes built in with HDMI and the network thing. I think the revision one had the...
Oh shit, that's right. They sure didn't have HDMI built in at the time. They came with it was component.
Yep.
Is what you could get. Yeah.
And he didn't care, because he didn't have anything. So it was like, cool, whatever. And then eventually he did. So it was like, okay, now he's like, I think I made it.
Yeah, I will say, seeing like the first game I ever saw in HD was Fable 2, and that was transformative.
God, even thinking about that, like 360, people nowadays that are just kind of hopping in have no idea the problem, none whatsoever. From the first steps of Xbox Live to not being able to read fucking text. They don't have any idea.
Dude, man. Also, yeah, if the fact that this thing even exists is incredible. Like, if you haven't seen the documentary that they put out for how they made Xbox and 360 and One and all that, you gotta watch it. It's on Xbox's YouTube channel. And it is a crazy story. Like, how Microsoft was ran at the time is crazy. The way Bill Gates just cussed people out. Like, just the fact that they had to steal a version of Windows for this thing just to get it to work legally within the company. Like, it's fucking bonkers, man. It's fucking absolutely bonkers.
It is. But, like, to piggyback what I was mentioning with, like, the visual aspect of it, because I know you were like, man, when you were talking about when you first saw high definition.
Yeah, because we couldn't read the text at first, and we had just got an HD TV, and I'm like, okay, we need to get the component cables. So that I got the component cables, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's essentially what happened with
720p.
Because I had composite, the ketchup and mustard cables that come with the systems all the time. And I remember plugging them in to the family TV, because I didn't put it in my TV, because I was like, whatever, it's the new system, we'll just put it in the big one and I'll play it when I can. And I was like, I can't see shit. It filled up the whole screen, but I was like, it's kind of blurry, but it looks pretty. It was still pretty, but it was just, you weren't used to high definition yet, so it's like, oh, it's still pretty, because it's new, right? It's fancy. And then I was like, well, I do have these universal component cables, you know, for all your bells and whistles or whatever the fuck it was. And that's when I plugged them in. That's when my world changed. Because
I sat on a banana. Of course, that changed my life.
I can specifically remember what game made me go, damn, I need better cables.
What game?
Dead Rising.
Oh yeah, I can see that game.
So Dead Rising was a game that was like, to me, the epitome of next gen. They showed that game off. That was the one thing that blew me away. Everything else was like, oh, this looks cool. I can't wait to play Xbox.
That was the first one where like, this is not possible.
Exactly. They showed that trailer. Frank's in the tunnels and there's like 2,000 zombies. And you're like, wow, that has never been done before. And it's only on 360. I must play this game. And I wanted to, and I actually still love Dead Rising 1. And holy hell, I couldn't play it. There was a demo for that as well. That was another one of the games I got a demo for, because you could just go and kill zombies in the little mall area before you like go adventure. So it was like, it's the perfect demo. But you couldn't read the text because it was, the definition for the text was high definition. But everything else was just like, okay, it can be high definition. Mm-hmm. That text was like, if you ain't on an HD TV, everything is blurry. So don't expect to understand what anybody's saying. So the moment I could, clarity opened up. I was like, the clouds awoke, and I erupted in my pants.
You so went,
ejaculatory.
You okay in there? It's everywhere.
God damn it. And it was mind blowing to me. And I was just like, man, this is wiggity wonky. And I was just fucking, I still couldn't believe it. I remember playing it, and then I was like, I have to see everything in HD now. I have to see what everything looks like. So then I put in like NBA. I put in Fight Night. I put in Dead or Alive 4. Put in Pit My Ride. Put in all the games.
Yeah, you went past that one fast.
I don't know about that game sucked. Anyway, I don't want to relive that memory. That game was doo-doo.
Bad, yeah, booty cheeks.
But oh man, the first thing of high definition is another thrilling point that people will never ever experience again, because now we live in the society of internet connection.
We live in a society.
We live in a society of high definition. There is not a single point where people are going to be like, I can't read the text because it's like in 160p.
Yeah. You look at like 720 now, it looks gross.
Right. Like, 720 looks pretty fuzzy.
Yeah. No, I think at this point we can no longer even call it high definition. It's just the
definition.
It's just the standard now. That is the new standard definition.
That's like when YouTube first was saying, hey, we got 1080p, 60 frames. I remember every video was like 1080p, 60 frames, 1080p, 60 frames.
Yeah, it was so weird to me to be able to experience internet video at 60 FPS. Like, this can't, like, what? Huh?
It was insane. I was like, I can see trailers at 60 frames, and that's how I knew. That's how I knew if companies were bullshitting me at the time, because I was like, okay, we'll see if this game is going to run better than what it looks. Because before, every game trailer just looked like the same game trailer.
It's all the same frame rate.
But now,
you can really see what's running well and what isn't.
You can see that your favorite games are running better. It's like, oh, if this racing game does not move at 60 frames, it could be a hindrance to you. If this shooting game does not move at 60 frames, it could be a hindrance to you. So it was just like, this is incredible to me. And I'm still shocked, because like the 360, fantastic system, up until they started trying to catch up with the Wii.
Okay, so we gotta talk about Kinect, right? So Kinect they're happy with. I mean, it was a financial success.
Dude, I didn't realize how good Kinect actually did until somebody was like, yeah, one of the top 5 selling games for Xbox, I think, is Kinect Adventures. And I was like, the pack-in game? And I'm like, wait a minute. So that means oh my God. I'm like, that whole thing was a success.
So they basically took the iToy and made it work.
Yeah.
You know.
They made a good iToy, and PlayStation was like, we'll figure it out later.
We're going to just do what the Wii did, y'all.
And it still was kind of meh.
It was kind of meh.
Who likes our candy balls?
Yeah, it just didn't hit the same. So, I mean, they capitalized on it. You know, we never did really get to experience Milo the way that demo. That shit was fake as fuck, Chris.
Ooh, it tickles.
You know, Skittles.
Oh, Skittles.
Oh, Skittles. Tasting the rainbow. I can't even think of a single. I had to connect.
You want to see the bottom of an avatar's foot?
And wha-bam! And then the avatar was all fucked up.
Yeah, that's good, right?
We had some ups and some downs on that spot. You don't get a system being around as long as it's been around and not have some lulls.
Do you remember when they were demoing it and they were just like, yeah, we integrated these amazing new features because I know you're thinking the Xbox Connect is just going to be a motion control thing. But because it has a microphone built in, you'll be able to call the plays in Madden the way that you want. That shit never happened. You'll be able to you'll be able to drive your car and turn your head to see your rear view mirrors. That, I think, was a feature and it never worked.
No, I think it was even on like the Xbox One Connect, and that stuff never
worked.
Hit the way it's supposed to.
Oh my God. It was like every time they had an idea for Connect, it was like, on paper, it's pretty phenomenal.
What's really hilarious about Connect now is that we always think that we thought the voice activation stuff at the time was gimmicky and hokey, and you either took it or leave it. And now we have like, you know, Alexa tied to everything. You can talk to Alexa to have it turn on.
Alexa, you have your Siri, you have your Google, you have everything that you can just talk to.
And I think the system's integrated with that too now, where you can like have Alexa turn on and off. Cortana, yeah, you can turn on and off your Xbox or whatever. And
yeah, it's if you have just a headset in, you can just talk to it and it'll just recognize it if you turn the feature on. So it's like, oh well, I mean, this works better because then you don't have to force a goddamn peripheral down people's throats.
Yeah, you know, Xbox One, that was just a rough. Oh man, that was a rough time.
So this is for all our podcast listeners, and not anybody that I care to like talk to later about this, because I think I mentioned it to you. Remember that weird like Xbox One time frame where they're like, this is what the features are. This was like right around the time of the presser, maybe a little bit after, and they had that like list of stuff that it could do, that they were gonna do, and everybody fucking hated it. I was like, this could probably work. I was one of the few people was like, I could probably benefit from this, because I lived in a society in my home where I had high-speed internet. I didn't have to worry about having a good internet. I was like,
always on.
I was like, this would probably work for me.
So I was too. So I knew that myself personally wasn't going to really be affected by it that much. But I also knew that at the time of 2013, a whole lot of other people were going to be horribly affected by it.
Man.
So, you know, to the point where you can't play used games, and the ownership stuff was questionable at the time, and having it to be always online, and Kinect being included in there. And at the time, Kinect had to be attached to the system before they revived. There were some problems. There were some big problems.
There was a lot of issues.
You know, and it was the same. It was kind of, part of it was hubris of like how Sony did it for PS3 of, we were so successful with 360 that we can pull this kind of stuff and be okay. You know, the backlash hit them. And then also, you know, they've always been this kind of like forward-thinking company trying to do things that people weren't quite ready for. Like putting the Ethernet port on here, people weren't quite ready for it. Including a hard drive wasn't really done before.
Nope.
So, you know, and then you going into, you know, paying for Xbox Live. A paid online service was controversial for a time.
It was.
You know, so, you know, integrating Netflix and streaming stuff into 360 was, people were like, oh, they're putting all these non-gaming things in here. Now all of our boxes can stream stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
Man. Oh man, to just pivot a little bit. Remember when Netflix first came to 360, and one of the big features for it was that you can watch Netflix with your friends.
With your friends in a theater mode,
and
with a little theater.
And it was cool, because I've tried it, and it was neat. But this was early Netflix. There was not, people complain now, and they're like, there's never anything on Netflix. Never anything on Netflix. Go back to when they did that. there was absolutely nothing on Netflix.
You got to watch Weeds and like Avatar.
It was like, I wish. It was like watching I Love Lucy and Paint Fucking Dry. That was your 2 programs of choice. Pick one, fuckhead, and die. And it was, or do you want to watch a movie from the 70s? It was like, what the fuck? There's nothing on here. There was literally absolutely nothing that warranted you to be like, oh, this is neat. I had a Netflix subscription to rent DVDs.
Gorsh.
Directly to my humble abode. I had a GameFly to have games come to my humble abode, and then having the idea of having a digital streaming service was foreign, new, exciting, but it was kind of shit. It got better, but holy fuck, that first wave, whew, it took a lot of convincing. They were like, yeah, if you like watching really old films, it's pretty cool. Otherwise, there's no need to do it.
Yep. But it's just interesting how, they always think ahead of these kind of things that aren't exactly popular at the time. People don't understand at the time. Then fast forward a few years when society is ready to move forward, it's all standard. Like now every system has, it's weird that systems don't have more things to do than just play games on them and stuff,
I think, what was it? You have a PS5 in the front, and my Xbox is in here. But it was weird because we were looking for a particular application. I don't remember what it was. I think it was like Bleacher Report. It was either Bleacher Report or Fight. And we were like, it's not on here. But I think it's on my Xbox. So it's very weird that certain systems that are all like the same like power level
don't get certain things.
Yeah, it's like, why wouldn't you do that for your brand?
Because it's weird. It's probably contractual stuff.
Maybe, but it's just like, it's like you said, it's just like, damn.
Why
don't we have everything we want?
that era, the pre-Phil Spencer taking over Xbox era, it was, oh god,
what was his fucking name? I can picture his big stupid face and a stupid smile.
Here's this
Ooh, if you know his name, leave it in the comments while I look it up. Because
come on, I know this. Oh no, what was his name? The head of Xbox? Oh dear. Maybe I just wanted to just not remember.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Because it was some tough times.
Don Matrick,
the Don Matrick era. Thank you.
All I had to do was put 2013, and all I could picture was, God,
and it sucks because he didn't have all bad ideas. A lot of ideas, again, were things that just weren't maybe ready for what we were doing at the time.
No, like I said, remember, I was from the ground floor. Like, this system will probably be very innovative, and I think it still could have been, but because they had to retroactively fit the needs of more consumers so promptly, that system, first off, it fell to the wayside because it lost a lot of trust for people. And then it was just like Sony kind of shot them in the face at E3, which was like a month later. After
the used game thing happened, it being $100 cheaper because they weren't packing in any weird accessory that you had to have with it. Yeah. Clearer messaging. It wasn't the games lineup, because the games lineup for PlayStation wasn't great either.
Hell, I stand by this, and I will always say it. Xbox One had a better launch lineup than PS4. And I will fight people to this day that disagree with me. I'll do it.
Because you look at it, and it's like, besides third-party stuff, which was on both, your first-party options, on Xbox, you had Dead Rising 3, you had Rise Son of Rome.
You had Forza Motorsport.
Forza came out day one with it.
You had Killer Instinct.
Yep, Killer Instinct was day one with it.
And then on PlayStation, you had Killzone Shadowfall.
Yeah, Killzone Shadowfall, and you had Knack.
And I think you had Resogun.
Yes.
So you had 3 games to 4. And, there was another game, I forgot what the name of it was on Xbox, I have it. It was made by the people who did Panzer Dragoon, and it was kind of like a spiritual successor.
Oh, Crimson Dragon.
That game is very painfully mediocre, but it is decent.
Yes.
But in terms of mediocrity, it's about as mediocre as Knack is. So whatever.
I think pound for pound, you did have better launch lineup on.
And then the third-party support, because you had Ghost, and you had Battlefield, and you had all your sports games, your Madden, your NBA.
And you had Need for Speed on there at launch. And,
you had tons of stuff.
It was just
Xbox shot themselves in the foot. If you could have bought an Xbox without a Kinect, like flat out and said this is the way to go and this is the definitive one, and people tell you that's the one to get, bar none, people would have bought the Xbox.
Because we did the math, and even with all the other stuff going on, I bought the Xbox instead of the PlayStation.
And so did I.
I said I would spend the extra $100 because this is the system that I know I'm going to play more.
And I was like, look, all they had to do was send, and shout out to Microsoft. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what inspired them to do it. But you know what they did? They was like, you're a longtime Xbox fan. And they knew. Have a copy of Killer Instinct Definitive Edition. So I had the first season of KI for free. And by God, that was the main thing I wanted. So they just fucking knew. They were like, now buy the system. And I was like, well, I mean, you got me. I'm like, I don't even need to buy games. I just need the system.
It was definitely one of those things where, it sucks because the starting blocks it stumbled so hard out of those starting blocks that Sony just ran away with the sales. Like, they just ran far away with the sales to the point where then you started to get more, content on PlayStation than you were getting Xbox. Xbox was trying so hard to pivot from the edict of the multimedia and TV and stuff that they didn't have. TV and sports and all that stuff, right?
Realistic fish. TV, sports, TV, sports.
Call of Duty, TV, sports. They didn't really have a lot of studios making new IP that was going to hit.
No.
So, Sony got to sit there and focus on what they do best, is making that AAA content. And it took Microsoft so long to pivot that they're still course correcting.
Yeah, it really fucked them up. Like, thank God when Phil Spencer came into play, he started understanding that, this is a video game market, and we have to think about the people wanting to play video games on these things before anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I'm a gamer. He's like, I love video games. Doesn't even matter the console that we're on. We just have to make sure that people want to play video games. And then they'll understand that. They'll understand the brand loyalty. They'll come back to Xbox. They'll trust us, and they'll start playing. And it's working. The backwards compatibility when PlayStation doesn't support it. The even further backwards compatibility when PlayStation doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah, you can go to every generation of system, and to some degree with some of these games and play them.
Hell, the new system being able to use the prior system's controllers. Sony doesn't do that at all. And even if you have an Xbox One, you can use a Series S or X controller on that system.
Dude, making cloud saves free and
cloud
standard.
saves are free.
Cloud saves are free, standard, and automatic. Incredible.
It's like everything that they do is for the gamer, but the problem is I think a lot of people don't look at that. They're looking specifically at games. The people that critique Game Pass are the ones who don't understand that if you have an Xbox, even if you have a PC, because Game Pass is on PC, it's still a great deal.
It is. Like them putting Game Pass out, because at first I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, this is cool, but the selection at the time wasn't what it is. And I'm like, okay. But as it grew and evolved and there's more stuff to it, and Game Pass Ultimate and Game Pass on PC,
then including EA Access.
Yeah, like they were really smart in pivoting, going, okay, we need to get new games out. It's gonna take time to make new games. We're getting all these studios together, but until then, we gotta service the gamer some other way. How do we service the gamer without getting new IP out there in front of them? Get them the games for free with a subscription service through Game Pass, and doing things like xCloud and streaming games to your phone, and making everything surrounding the ecosystem easier and better to get into before the games get there. So now when the games get there, then you have this great environment to play in there already.
Yeah, it makes it even better, because it's like, if you're a new player, if you're a person who's like, yeah, I have an Xbox One, haven't had a chance to get anything because I've been trying to get my money together, I've been trying to get my internet settled so that I can properly use it the way I want to, and then you're like, finally, I got an Xbox Series S because I said I'm going to go all digital. Or you got an X, who cares, whatever, you got the one that has the disk drive on it. You don't even need to buy a $70 game right at the get-go. 60, 70, 50, who cares? You can buy a month of Game Pass, and you get a huge selection of games that you may or may not have even played, and then you can choose to pay for those games at an even discounted price. It's like, they literally are working for people that want to play video games.
Like they're pivoting hard into being a gamer, consumer-focused company. Like even the way they're, and within the gaming arena and behind the curtain, treating their employees right, making a good working environment for people.
Hell, even just outside for the consumer as well, for like the people with like disabilities. Like,
yeah,
I forgot what the special controller that they have. I forgot what it's specifically
called.
I
can't remember. It's super designed for accessibility, which was, they didn't have to do that. Like that was not a thing that's going to make them money, that's going to sell gangbusters, but they did it.
Chose to do it, and it's like god damn, it's like you really are just thinking about the people, and it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. Yeah. It's one of the reasons why I'm like, I love Xbox. I really do. It's not even like because we do an Xbox show. No, I genuinely do love Xbox.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's interesting seeing their kind of way of getting mind share back, and it's working. They've never sold these many consoles before. Like it's actually working. And to make the idea of Xbox more ubiquitous than just it being this. If you can see it on camera, I'm pointing at his crotch. The actual system itself, to now, if you buy a Samsung TV in 2022, you can play Xbox games on it. Like they're taking Xbox out of the box and just putting it out into the world as a thing that just means Xbox means your TV, it means whatever system you have, it means your PC, it means your mobile phone. Like that's brilliant. That is really brilliant. I'm sitting here tugging Xbox's dick, but
Xbox means gaming.
Xbox means gaming.
You can send us the checks.
Exactly. That's a shirt. Give me the money. Pay us.
Because you could do an easy commercial where people are just like, Xbox means friends. It means family. Xbox means together with all my friends on the porch having mimosas.
on the rooftop in New York with our Switches as well.
Xbox means playing on my Samsung TV. Xbox means gaming.
It just means it.
And that's what you're there for.
So
with that
ass in that thing. Look at that dump truck. Look at the dump truck on this thing. Look at that dumper. You know what I'm saying? That's incredible. There you go.
So with that, let's get to wrapping the show up. Steve, we're here at your favorite point of the moment. What is your Game Pass pick of the week?
My Game Pass pick of the week this week is going to be, I'm just going to say No Man's Sky. Because it's on there. I've played a ton of it on PC. It is, for anybody who is like looking forward to Starfield, and it's because it's way a ways out. If you want something to kind of wet your palate before then, you should definitely try No Man's Sky. Like it is so much more improved over what it was like when it came out back in 2015, 2016, something like that. You can do so much in it. They've added so much content. They keep supporting it, and all the content's free. Like, it's crazy. Like, you should definitely try No Man's Sky, especially with your friends. It's cross-platform play, so you can play with friends on PC, on PlayStation. Like, do it. Play No Man's Sky.
Well, my Game Pass pick of the week, is a brand new release. It's very easy.
Oh yeah, I was gonna if I wasn't gonna do this, I was gonna do this.
It's TMNT Shredder's Revenge.
There you go.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge is so goddamn good.
Yeah, you've been playing quite a bit of it.
I love that game so much. The music by T. Lopes is phenomenal, let alone the other artists, including Ghostface Killah and what was it? I think Raekwon from Wu-Tang Clan.
Yes.
Oh my god, it's amazing. It's visually orgasmic. 6 players, cross-play.
Talking orgasms this episode.
Oh my god, I've been hankering for this game since they announced it. I think when they first revealed it, I was like, yo, have you seen the Turtles game? I couldn't shut the fuck up about it. I was like, I can't wait. Every time they put out some new Turtle information, I was like, I can't wait. It looks better and better and better. And it finally came out, and I was like, this is what I wanted. Dotemu consistently puts out banger games that are just nostalgic.
What did they make before?
Windjammers 2.
Oh.
What did they make before that? Streets of Rage 4.
Goddamn.
What are they making next? Metal Slug Tactics.
Oh, shit.
And guess who's doing the soundtrack for that? T-Lopes again. It's like everything that I want in a nostalgia bubble.
Amazing.
They're fucking just... And I wouldn't even be surprised because guess what was on Game Pass? Streets of Rage 4. Guess what's on Game Pass? Windjammers 2. And guess what's on Game Pass for the pick of the week? Shredder's Revenge.
Also, T-Lobes did the Sonic Mania soundtrack. If you have not heard of this band, Is it this man's work. It's on Spotify.
And the Turtle soundtrack is also on Spotify.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Hey!
So go ahead and give it a listen. I can't stress enough how enjoyable the game is. Get your friends together. If you're adults, grab some brewskis, turn the tube on, and get to having a blast because it is so fun. And if you're a parent, your kids are gonna love it. Your kids are gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Every person I know has played it's like they've just been smiling from ear to ear because it makes you feel like a kid again playing it. And it's just like I have just been having such a good time. It's colorful, it's flashy, it's great. It's truly great.
Awesome. That was our pick of the week. So, I think we're out of time for the show. I think it's probably time we should probably
You're right.
slide
It is
on
time
out.
it is time we finish the show off with our favorite.
Comment and
and
share,
our-
subscribe, and
And it's our favorite part. Sit your ass down. Where Steve has to guess the video game character within 1 minute. And I know how much you love it. Right?
I love it.
He loves it so much. He loves it so
I've been
much.
losing all weekend, folks.
It's fine. You won this last week, though.
Did I?
Well, actually, no. Well, it was the week before that because
was
we
the week
didn't
before,
do it
right.
for the showcase. So,
Wait a minute. Yes, we did.
for the showcase?
We did. It was somebody. I don't remember at this point.
Great. So this week is this week. Are you ready?
I'm ready, Freddie.
Begin.
Is it a multi-platform game?
No.
Is it an Xbox exclusive?
Yes.
Is it from the 360 generation?
Yes.
Was it only on 360 generation?
No.
Okay, so it's been on multiple Xbox generations.
Yes.
Okay, is the main protagonist a human?
Yeah. No.
Oh, not a human. Do they wear a hat?
No.
Is this a shooter?
No.
Is it a platformer?
Yes.
Okay. Are they some kind of anthropomorphic animal?
Animal? Kind of.
Is this game rated T for teen?
I think so, yes.
Is this game, do you shoot people in it?
Kind of.
Okay. Shit.
Kind of, but no.
Kind of, but no.
You have less than 10.
All right. Are you a male protagonist?
No.
Female protagonist?
Yes. We have hit the 1 minute marker.
What the
Foxxy Steve, do you have a guess for this week's video game character?
Got such a small time frame.
I know. I feel like you asked a good chunk of questions, though.
I did though. I got a lot out there. It's it's on multiple Xboxes. It's an Xbox franchise.
Of sorts, yeah.
See these.
I can't give it away.
I know. And it is not a human, and it's a female.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a human.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a platformer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
Shit.
God damn. I don't know. What is it?
Cameo.
I was gonna say that. I thought that was just a human woman.
She's an elf. I know. It's one of those things where you're gonna be like, I thought she was a human. Nope. She's from a weird race of elves, I believe. So she's able to like transform. One of her powers, I believe, has like a third-person shooting ability.
Man, fuck that game. Nobody cares about that game.
You are indeed correct.
Shit.
It was a failure by all means. But that'll do it for us.
Oh my god. I was gonna say cameo.
You should have said cameo, because that was it. That was it.
I've been losing all weekend. Can't win a dice miner. Can't win a cameo.
It's fine.
Can't win at Happy Little Dinosaurs.
Apparently none of us can.
Okay.
Because we all fucked up. But if you guys enjoyed the show, and I know you guys did, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell on YouTube to stay up to date when we put up more content like this, my GM mode, and anything else that will be popping out during the timeline, because we'll be putting out more things from myself, from probably Foxxy Steve when he gets a chance, even probably some some other things, because I'm thinking, we're going to Chicago. You might see a little vlog. You might see a little wrestling vlog from us. So it might be pretty neat. And Steve, what about the audio listeners, though?
Other listeners, be sure to go on to Spotify and Apple Podcast and Google Podcast and go ahead and give us a 5-star review there. We appreciate all the listens and all the shares and all the engagement there as well. And of course, in the comments, leave your Xbox memories. When did you get into it? When did it ever become your main system? When did you experience the glory of Xbox Live for the first time?
Yeah, when did Xbox become your Lord and Savior?
When were you disappointed by Don Matrick?
When were you disappointed by Don Matrick? Let's have a real conversation on it. But once again, thank you guys. Next week we will be away in Chicago. We may do the podcast we won't. If we do the podcast in Chicago, it'll be real bootleg looking.
It would. It'd be real bootleg looking.
So we'll let you guys know, but we'll probably have at least some sort of content to give you while we go and check out Forbidden Door. So if you're a wrestling fan, fantastic. But we'll do that, and then we'll just catch you guys next time. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And you guys have a pleasant tomorrow. Adios.